Good evening to members of committee, and welcome to the January 11th Council and Committee meeting of the town of Petawawa. Welcome. I'll ask if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest on any of the matters before us this evening. Seeing none, there's no presentations. We'll go right to the agenda. Item number 1 is the fire department activity report for December. Craig, Deputy Chief, it's your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody, members of council. The activity report for December 2020. Starting with our incidents, we had 7 incidents through the month. On December 7th, our crews responded for a motor vehicle collision and basically stabilized the scene, made sure that there was no fuel leaking, and all the drivers were okay. They left the scene and went back to station. On the 12th, we were again called for a motor vehicle collision on Highway 17 in Forest Lee, but the crew were en route and then stood down while they were en route. We had vehicle fire on December 14th. The fire was located in the engine compartment. The crews were able to confine the fire to the engine compartment, saving what was inside the passenger compartment, and were able to extinguish it. It looked like it was a electrical fire. We had a fire alarm on December 9th, which was activated due to cooking. A resident was cooking and the smoke was able to set off a detector out in the hallway. On December the 6th, we responded for a smell of gas. We couldn't find the source, but the crews searched the resident, made sure that the resident was safe with our multi-gas detectors. So we couldn't locate a source. On December 29th, we had a strange odor in the residence. The crews checked the whole premise and couldn't find nothing. And we had a carbon monoxide alarm that was beeping due to low battery. So the crews replaced the batteries and returned to station. For the fire prevention report, didn't have a lot of activity in December, but we had a couple inspections that the inspectors worked at, as well as a inspection of one of our facilities, and they did do a fire drill and made sure that all the workers knew what to do with the fire safety plan. For our CO and smoke alarms, we have a total of 160 homes that were checked this year. We had 5 in December, so that finished off our year with 160. For open air permits, we didn't have any new open air permits for the month of December. We just had 26 renewals, and we finished off the year with 923 permits that were issued. For training, the crews did 2 days of training, December 4th and December 11th. They worked on fire alarm systems. They learned about components, how fire alarm systems work, and the different types and how their initiating devices work, as well as sprinkler systems, the types of sprinkler systems, the components and devices and how they work, and how to isolate if we have and need be, and smoke and CO alarms, the different types. And of course, we made sure that our personnel understand the laws and how we abide by the laws in Ontario. For maintenance, we had a vehicle in for brakes. For buildings, we had the door repaired on our classroom, our garage out at Public Works. It was vandalized back on November 30th. I think I had that in my last month's report. So the door was repaired, and the people that broke in actually discharged a fire extinguisher, portable fire extinguisher, in our classroom portable. So the crews had to clean that up. They left quite a mess, and we're more concerned about the people that discharged it, because that stuff is not very good for your health, especially if you inhale the chemical. And then just minor maintenance on the buildings, installing some ladder hangers, and that's about it for the buildings. For self-contained breathing apparatuses, we had 1 RIT pack that was sent out for repairs, and it's now back in service. That's an emergency air pack for our members if they become in trouble in an environment. And then we just had a saw and our hydrogen cyanide detector maintained. For the fire chief's comments, the fire chief participated in the Zoom seminar for the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs and the fire underwriters survey back in December 1st. We did have a year-end meeting for management team, and that was held on December 21st. And the chief participated in the Zoom COVID task force meeting on the 23rd of December. And that's my report, activity report for December.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. I'll go back to the report of members of committee. Questions? Deputy Mayor or Gary? Is it Gary? Yeah, Gary, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Craig. Craig, I'm just wondering how the provincial lockdown has affected your ability to do any training. That's the first question. And my second one is the provincial lockdown and the pandemic. Has this further delayed our master fire plan?
So right now the crews are, we're not training at this time. We're looking at different avenues to take for training to try to keep our people safe and the numbers down. Even activity at the fire hall, we reduced the number of personnel visiting the fire hall. There is no fire hall visits for the public at this point in time. And as is calls, of course, we're still answering calls, but we're still following our protocol and procedures that we had in place back in March. How do our personnel are going to decon themselves if they go into a residence and try to keep the residents safe as well as our members. But it has changed our way we do business with training, as well as our equipment inspections. Instead of having 8 personnel at doing equipment inspections, we've reduced it to 2. And that's what we did back when we had the last lockdown. So that's what's changed. As for the master fire plan, that's still on hold. I'll have to ask the chief about if that slowed anything down, and I assume it would, because there's a lot of businesses that are not actioning some of those cases because it's not a priority at this point in time with the pandemic.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. Further questions of the report? Tommy.
Big follow-up question. Talking about fire plans, did we ever resolve the fire plan at the airport? Is that completed at this stage?
Yes, it is completed. It was sent back to the management at the airport, and it's in their hands now.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Further questions? Seeing none, I need a motion to accept the report. Murray, seconded by Teresa. All in favor? It is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Craig. We'll go to the community services report. Evening, Kelly.
Thank you, Worship. Good evening, members of council. So for December, quiet month, as you can tell by in the report, and certainly COVID's taking its toll on the community services department. But a number of things I'd like to highlight. So our outdoor rink, we probably need this week before we can get it open. We've been giving her pretty hard since Christmas, and I mean, you know what the weather's been like, so you know we need a good -10 to really build the 2 inches of ice that we need, and we're just not getting the weather to cooperate. But we're pushing it as hard as we can, and we're going to really try to have it open for this Saturday. We have had to develop 2 levels of protocols for the outdoor rink. We initially started with a protocol based on the meeting that we had with the Renfrew County Arena Operations Group and the health unit. That protocol was based on the restrictions that were in place prior to the lockdown. And of course, the lockdown happened. So since the lockdowns happened, we've had to develop a second set of protocols based on the restrictions that are contained within the current lockdown. So we have signs ready to go up depending on where we're at, what level of restrictions we're at, and we may find out in the coming days and by the end of this current lockdown where we sit in 2 weeks, and we'll either be in further lockdown with other restrictions, or hopefully we'll go back to where we were prior to the lockdown that started on Boxing Day. But regardless of where we're at, we're kind of prepared to operate the outdoor rink under whatever restriction level that we're faced with, other than if the province comes out and cancels outdoor rink activity. We don't foresee that, but anyways, we're kind of prepared for whatever situation we have to operate in. In terms of the arena floor replacement, so we did meet on December 4th with Barry Bryan Associates, and since then we've put together the tender, the specifications, and the tender document along with our drawings. So that package is pretty much ready to go. There's a couple of tweaks that we're doing right now, and we're hoping to release that tender tomorrow. And so it'll be on our website if you want to have a look at it. And of course, we'll place it in Merck's. And our site visit will be on January the 22nd, where contractors can come to the site and be there with our engineering firm consultant, and that'll really get the ball rolling from there. The tender will close in the second week of February, and then we'll go through our normal award process from that point. On December 7th and 9th, Mark and I hosted a small group staff meeting series. So we met with staff in groups of 2, 3, and 4, just so that we weren't all, jammed up in a room together as a department, and answered questions that staff had with respect to COVID and just COVID things that are happening. I had a number of staff bring questions to me regarding COVID. What happens if a staff person contacts COVID? What happens if somebody's asymptomatic? What happens if somebody has a family member that tests positive? Lots of different questions. So we prepared our answers and relied on the health unit to provide most of the feedback, and provided those answers to staff at that time. And then just lastly, I issued a memo to staff on December the 23rd, just outlining what would happen during the lockdown. So as council members know, the Civic Center is closed. The library is only doing curbside pickup, so that's had an impact on our operation. And while we're currently, all of our full-time staff are currently working at a full-time level, a lot of our casual staff have had their hours reduced just because we don't have the work for them. So we're working through that now, and at this point, we're waiting to see what happens in 2 weeks and whether the lockdown gets lifted or not. If it gets extended, then we'll have to start making some operational decisions around the arena and whether we keep it open for the rest of the winter or not. So we're just gonna have to wait and see over the next couple of weeks to see where they go. Under tourism services, I'll just make one comment down at the bottom there. Colin continues to develop his video portfolio. He did a number of business interviews where he took video of different businesses in Petawawa, and having a lot of times it's staff, but the actors come in and look like they're going up to get service at the counter and things like that. So we continue to develop that, and you can see snippets of some of that video starting to show up on some of our social media and things like that. We're starting to use it to promote Petawawa and both from a tourism perspective and from an economic development perspective. Under parks and facilities, Mark met with the commissionaires on December 7th and 11th just to talk to them about community services, our parks, how we're going to deal with certain things that are common issues in our parks. Things are moving along on a very positive note. We're quite happy to have them available to us, and we're certainly using their services. We had, of course, our Christmas Angels luncheon set up on December the 24th and practice run. And then, of course, on December the 26th, the lockdown was initiated. And it's lastly under parks and facilities, our Toboggan Hill's open. We have posted a COVID set of rules, as well as posted information on our website. So it is open. It is fairly busy. We could definitely use some more snow, but it is open for people to enjoy it at this time. Under program services, we finished off our fall programming. We had a couple programs you'll see at the top of the box. We have had to start to reschedule stuff through this lockdown though. So some programs have been canceled, some have been deferred till after the lockdown. And we'll just have to wait and see if the lockdown ends in a couple weeks. Some people have asked for refunds. People that had booked to certain programs have been refunded. A lot of them just carry their whatever they put down for that particular program or event on their account, and they'll spend it later on either a rescheduled event or a new opportunity that we offer. And I will just let council, you may be kind of wondering, because we're in the middle of January, about cabin fever. So of course, it's very dependent on where we're at with COVID restrictions. Colin has, with most things that he's doing these days, in terms of programs and events, a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. And it all depends on where we're at in terms of restrictions as to what we can offer in a COVID safe manner. If we're in full restriction, similar to now or possibly worse, he does have a number of virtual events, like a virtual bingo and a virtual trivia that he has queued up and ready to go. So minimally we'll be able to offer a couple of virtual options in terms of some cabin fever events. Under rental activity, you'll see that we have a few of our regular renters through the month of December. Tops, Calvary Baptist Church, CNL was in doing some testing. We had a few private rentals. You'll see there's a number of private rentals there, and people were renting our hall. Of course, they have to submit their COVID plan and adhere to COVID rules, but they were renting our hall so that they could spend some time with some family members because there's room to do it, whereas they don't have the room in their house or they didn't want other people being in their house. So we did offer a few private rentals out. And then just lastly, before lockdown hit, we did have the Christmas Angels Luncheon, which was takeout and delivery only this year, but again, another successful Christmas Angels event, and certainly hats off to Teresa and her crew for doing that again, even though a very difficult time to do it this year, but certainly a well worthwhile event, and of course another successful year. And that's my report, Mr. Mayor. I'd be glad to answer any questions that council members may have.
Thank you, Kelly. I'll open it up for questions. Murray?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kelly, thank you also for the report. I'm glad to hear that you have your plan A, B, C there for cabin fever. I think it's important that we offer some type of event and some social gathering via live on the virtual events. I think it's important to offer something up for our community. People are looking for something to do, and I'm glad you're offering that. Thank you.
Further questions? Teresa?
Thank you,
Teresa?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was waiting for my light to shine. Kelly, if I could just ask a question with the leash-free dog park. I haven't gone down to look at the signs, but is it open during these restrictions? I've had a couple of those questions, and I've suggested they go down and do a drive-by, but not sure.
Yeah, it is open. Many outdoor amenities in the province are open. There are some that aren't. Ski hills, as an example, are not open, but currently dog parks are open. Of course, we have all the usual COVID rules posted that people are asked to follow, and we're keeping a little closer eye on it in terms of monitoring on a day-to-day basis to make sure that people are following the rules. But like anything else that we're operating right now, that could change. So there's going to be an announcement tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Further? Kelly, what is the Civic Center Christmas lighting plan? What have you got there? Can you give me an update?
So, yeah, sure, Mr. Mayor. So we had our tree lighting ceremony this year, and
Yes.
Almost before that even started, both Christine and Colin are working away on expanding that. And they've had an artist do up some renderings to give them an idea of what might be possible. And they're starting to work on a strategy to see us kind of grow that and do some more Christmas lighting around the Civic Center property over the coming years. It'll probably be something where they build a little bit every year and grow it to its potential. And Christine has some ideas around involving the business community in growing that. And so it's still pretty early in the planning process, but they had an artist do up some renderings just to give them some vision and something that they can share with people when they talk about it, about what their ideas are. And so at this point, we'll let them keep doing what they're doing, and we'll see where they can take it.
So when can we see something like that, Council? I mean, is it a document that we're going to see, or does it include sponsorship for businesses, et cetera, or what does it include?
Yeah, I don't know if we have a date yet, Mr. Mayor, but yeah, certainly at some point we'll give you a presentation.
Okay, thank you. Further on the report. James?
Thank you, Mayor Sweet. Kelly, with respect to the COVID rules regarding tobogganing, I see a lot of people using the hill directly across from Starbucks. And I wonder, like I drive by and I'm not sure exactly what the rules are. I've heard on the radio rules that the health unit has put in place down in Ottawa, but I'm not sure what ours are with respect to tobogganing and whether or not these people are doing anything wrong by gathering in the numbers that they are. I was just wondering if you've seen it and
our health unit has not placed any restrictions on numbers. So yeah, over the weekend and that you probably saw in Ottawa where I guess after Christmas they had some issues, particularly at the outdoor rink at City Hall, where there was just literally hundreds and hundreds of people and certainly not enough room to maintain physical distancing. A lot of people weren't wearing masks. So they've addressed that now with further regulation around how the rink gets used. Here in Renfrew County, we don't have any restrictions yet on skating rinks or toboggan hills. They are asking people to wear masks and to physically distance when they're using the facility. But I don't believe they've had a need to address any congestion issues yet. In terms of the hill over across from Starbucks, I'm pretty sure that's private property. So I'm not sure if the owners of that property are aware that people are tobogganing on their property, but it's you know, I don't know if there's anything that we can address at this point, unless we think there's a concern. Then we could certainly raise it with the health unit.
It is private property, Kelly, and it is getting very well used, so extensively used. Further on the report. Okay, just before I ask for acceptance of the report, just want to tell you, in another 13 months or so, and none of us have a crystal ball at this point in time, we had our official kickoff to the 2022 Ontario Winter Games, of which Petawawa will be actively involved in that at the Civic Centre, as Kelly is probably aware. There has been some preliminary outreach to suggest some of the events that will take place in Petawawa. They've not been etched in stone as yet, but and I'll get that to you as soon as I get the information. But I think it's important that the arena floor, which will play a pivotal role in some of the events that they're suggesting could be held in Petawawa. So it's important that the Civic Centre be up and running sometime in February of 2022. I know it sounds like a long ways off, but it's only 13 months. So it's important that we keep the pedal on the gas to make sure that gets taken care of. The whole games are stretching from just in Ottawa all the way up to Petawawa and the Garrison and out to Barry's Bay. They're trying to involve all of the municipalities as much as they can. It's a major undertaking to get this in place. Usually the host community starts this 2 years out. And in our particular case, because of COVID and shutdowns and things of that nature. We've only got like 12 to 13 months, so we've got a lot of work ahead of us. But nonetheless, I think it can be achieved. There will be a requirement somewhere along the line to find sponsors and volunteers to make this a reality. So stay tuned. I'll give you the information as soon as I get it. But Kelly, I think you're going to be contacted if you've not already been contacted with
Oh, yeah.
regards to this in terms of booking facilities in the at the community center. I think we're also going to Valor School as well for indoor soccer or footsie or whatever the term is for that. So there's a lot of things happening. So just to keep you in the loop as far as that's concerned. Okay. I need a motion to accept this report, please. Carrie, seconded by James. All in favor? It is carried. Thank you.
Thank
So with
you.
that, thank you, Kelly. We'll go to finance and management. Annette, where are you? There you are, up in the corner there, hiding away. Okay, the first item is the audit responsibilities.
Okay, good evening. You have before you the annual letter that we received from the auditor. This letter provides an overview of the 2020 audit procedures. They just touch on a few points to let you know what type of audit approach they'll be using, that they'll be focusing on items, account balances and transactions such as AP, payroll, reviewing our internal controls that we have in place. The timing of the audit now, they've already been in performing part of the audit before year end 2020, and we do have them scheduled to come in now the beginning of February, pending I guess any COVID restrictions. Their accounting team again this year consists of Angela Shute with Peter Harrington providing review. They do make note of just as part of their annual letter reminding about fraud and fraudulent matters and how they must report on that information, as well management as if we suspect anything must report on that. And basically in the end, once they've completed their audit, they will provide a report to council of all their findings.
Thank you, Annette. Any questions on the letters? Do you want a resolution? Need a motion, please, to accept the report. Tom, seconded by Matthew. No discussion. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, accounts payable. Any questions on the payables, folks? I think we're going to have to buy a new set of these ear things. Any questions on the payables? And I need a motion to pay the bills, please. Murray, seconded by James. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. With that, we'll go to the admin animal control bylaw enforcement activity report. Don, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Sweet. So animal control for the month of December was fairly quiet. Not much to report there. Now, exciting for some people, commissioners started December 1st. The first major weekend was a snowstorm. So for the month of December, 95 parking infraction notices were issued. And again, majority were for winter parking violations. They also did issue warnings also, which was an additional 30 written warnings for the month of December. And we have received revenue just over $1,000 so far, just for that month. And our pet licensing, we're approximately 80 pet tags ahead of what we were the previous year for our sales through DocuPet, and we continue again to receive revenue for those sales from DocuPet, and I can answer any questions.
Okay, that's your report done. Any questions? Seeing none, I need a motion to accept the report, please. Nobody? Don, you're going to have to go back and read it all over again. Do we have a mover and a seconder, please? Matthew, seconded by James. All in favor? It is carried. There we go. General matters.
Brighter on.
Pardon? Can't hear you.
No, it's okay, Rob.
Hey,
It's okay.
okay. Anything under general matters?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Pardon me? Okay, I just
Nothing,
wanted to,
Mr. Mayor.
okay, I have one item that I want to bring to you. I'd like to do something, and I just give some food for thought on this particular situation. But it's hard to imagine that the town was formed on the 1st of July in 1997 as a result of the township and the village coming together to create the town. In 2022, that'll be 25 years that we will be celebrating as a town, a silver jubilee or silver anniversary of the town of Petawawa. I'd like to put together a bit of a team to take a look at something special to celebrate the 25th anniversary. We're coming out of COVID, and I think the community would like to celebrate in a big way. So I'll be talking to members of committee and have a chat with you and give some ideas. I've talked to Kelly about this and the CEO, and I'd like to, as I say, put together something special. I think something that's an opportunity to celebrate not only the 25th anniversary, but also I think it's an opportunity for people to unwind. Hopefully the COVID-19 will be behind us by that time. So I'll be getting in touch with you, or you can get in touch with me, and we'll have a chat about what my thoughts and plans are for 2022. Okay. Anything else for general matters? Nope. Anything for closed?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Need a motion to adjourn, please. Murray, seconded by Teresa. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Good night, all.